Well guys, welcome into today's video. Today's video is going to be a super in-depth one on how you can get to a point where you have $10 million plus invested in the stock market, okay? We'll go step by step through this, how you can actually achieve something with this. And this is going to be a straight educational video. This isn't like an entertainment video here for you guys here today, or talking about something that's going on in the current market or something like that. This is straight educational. I'm going to change some perspectives on how you can achieve this and exactly what you should be doing step by step through the process, how you should be thinking, what type of things you should be looking for, and those sorts of things. These videos aren't the best for the YouTube algorithm, I'll be honest, but at the same time, I know a ton of you guys, appreciate these videos. I know there's a good chunk of subscribers that love the more educational content where I'm going kind of into some different points on how you can achieve some big things out there, exactly how you can pull something like this off, like $10 million plus in the stock market, which, I know at first can sound like crazy, right? It's like, whoa, what, 10 million plus? Like, is that even possible? Well, we'll speak about that, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up. That helps the YouTube channel out in a massive way. It lets me know that you guys enjoy a video like this that's even, just straight educational. Definitely helps me out in general, okay? And also, if you want an opportunity to learn directly from me on how to make more money in the stock market while taking less risk, fill out an application. First link in the description down there. I might even pin it as a pinned comment if you're interested in that. We even have one-on-one coaching in the program for millionaire students now, okay? Alrighty, so let's start today's video. I want to start this out. I was really thinking about how do I lay out a video like this that's going to be a really important one from an educational standpoint. So I really just want to start with a very simple question to kind of get you in the right mindset to kind of understand this, okay? So you have, the stock market and real estate. Let's just talk about this for a moment, okay? Let me ask you a question here, okay? Do you believe the stock market will be higher or lower in 10 years from now than it is today? Okay, I'm recording this video in 2020. Do you think the Dow 30, S&P 500, NASDAQ will be higher or lower in 10 years from now, so in 2030, than it is today? Do you think the average real estate price out there for average home in major cities around the United States of America, do you think they'll be more expensive or less expensive over the course of the next 10 years, so in 10 years from now, okay? Next question I want to ask you here. I put out $5,000 cash here, okay? Do you believe that $5,000 will have more buying power in 10 years from now or less buying power? Do you think that $5,000 is truly going to be worth, what $5,000 could buy you here today in 10 years from now? Like, what is your opinion on that, okay? I just want you to think about that for a moment, okay? Now, my personal opinion on this is obviously, I believe the stock market is going to be considerably higher in 10 years from now than it is today. Where's the stock market is next month, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, even 24 months from now? Who knows, okay? But I can almost guarantee you, if I had to bet my money one way or another, I would bet that the stock market will probably be up and up considerably 10 years from now than it is today, right? Real estate prices, like what are homes going to be cheaper or more expensive in 10 years from now on average in big cities? Obviously, they're going to be much more expensive, okay? And I think every single one of you guys should agree with that, okay? The dollar. Meanwhile, is $5,000 going to be worth the same as $5,000 today in 10 years from now? Absolutely not, okay? With all the money printing out there, with the low interest rates, debt, all those sorts of things, there's no way that $5,000 is going to be worth more. It's going to buy me even more in 10 years from now than it does today. There's just no way. If anything, that $5,000 is actually going to be worth truly like $4,000 10 years from now, okay? Or maybe even it's worth $3,000 10 years from now, okay? Or maybe it's even worth only $2,000 truly 10 years from now. I can tell you that $5,000 is not going to be worth $5,000 in 10 years from now. The devaluation of currency, of the dollar and all currencies out there, it's just going to continue and continue forever and ever and ever. Those dollars will continue to be devalued over and over again. Meanwhile, obviously, real estate, stocks, those sorts of things will become more expensive over time. This is just just the way it works, okay? That's what happens when you have a debt system, a system in which you can, print basically unlimited dollars and you can just flood money out there in the market. It's what's happened for the last 100 years. It will happen for the next 100 years, okay? And unless if you believe something else, then, maybe this video is not for you, okay? But I hope, 99.99% of you guys, believe that truly the dollar will continue to go down in value over time in terms of buying power, and stocks and real estate will go up over time, okay? One more simple thing I want to get across in this video before we kind of get to the meat of it, okay? Because I know, especially for a lot of people with less than 6 figures that might be watching this video, say, I can never have $10 million in stocks. It's completely unrealistic. 10 million, it's just no way, okay? So you're going to tell me you can't achieve, if you put your head down and really focus on this so over the next 10, 20 years, you're going to tell me you can't achieve $10 million in the stock market, but some guy that grew up in a household with a single teen mom can become the richest person in the world, worth $120 billion or whatever, even after his divorce, still worth that much. You're gonna tell me he can achieve that coming from a home like that with a single teen mom and go to, worth hundreds of billions of dollars in the future? And you can't achieve $10 million in the stock market? You're going to tell me some South African guy can go on to create a car company that's completely disrupting the entire automobile sector and changing the way people think about transportation, and the guy can be worth $80 billion? He can go ahead and achieve that, but you can't achieve 10 million in the stock market? You're going to tell me that? You're going to tell me a guy can create the most powerful company arguably in the entire world from his dorm room? From his dorm room. One guy creates the most powerful company in the world from his dorm room, and you can't achieve $10 million in the stock market over the next 10, 20 years? Come on, guys. You really have to start to open your mind and realize, oh my gosh, this is nothing, okay? You have to really start to view it as it's something to be proud of if you achieve this, but it's not like this is earth-shaking stuff, okay? You're gonna tell me some guy that, was making, $8.75 an hour at Walgreens in the photo department could go on to create 2 massive YouTube channels in the stock market space? Just think about all these other things that are going on in the world, and you'll realize, dude, it is absolutely 100% possible if you put your head down, you grind on this the next 10, 20 years, that you can get to a place where you have $10 million plus in the stock market. It's from somebody like myself where I've seen success and I've seen people that have way more success than having $10 million in the stock market. Let's just put it that way. It sounds silly when you say things like, I could never do that. That's just crazy. I could never do that. Just because you haven't seen anybody around you pull off something like that, which most of us haven't, doesn't mean it's not going on, okay? Every day there are people getting way above levels where they have $10 million in the stock market. Let's just put it that way, okay? This is a great saying from Bill Gates. This always says, stuck with me. And I want each and every one of you guys watching this video right now to always remember this quote, because it's one of the realest quotes I've ever seen in my life, okay? Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. It is 100% true. The amount of people I'll come across that want something where they can get rich tomorrow, man. Just get me rich tomorrow. It's just it's so unrealistic, man. It really is. You're way overestimating what you can pull off over the next 6 to 12 months. Meanwhile, people, will look at things and be like, oh, I can't do that. And it's man, you got the whole next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades to play with. You're gonna tell me you can't pull off some amazing stuff? You put your head down and grind on this for the next 10, 20, 30 years? Give me a break, okay? This is absolutely possible, okay? So what do we know so far in this video? 1, cash is being devalued constantly, right? It's always nice to have some cash around, and I actually always recommend keeping some cash around. 10% to even up to 30% of your net worth should always be in cash. I always like having some cash around, but the fact is you should have most of your money invested, because your cash is being devalued day by day by day, and it will continue to get even worse over the next decade or two, okay? Constantly being devalued. Number 2, stocks go up most of the time. The market goes up most of the time, okay? Most years, the stock market's up. And if you look at any decade, type time horizon, stock market up and up, okay? And number 3, $10 million plus in the stock market is absolutely possible, okay? People have pulled off way more ambitious stuff than, let's say, $10 million in the stock market. So get out of that mindset where you're putting yourself into a little category where you're like, I can't do that. Give me a break. Absolutely, you can, okay? Now, what do you have to do to actually pull this off? If you want to have $10 million plus in the stock market, what are the things you need to do, the ways you need to think about actually achieving this, okay? So number 1, this is arguably the biggest key to making all this happen, okay? Get yourself in a position where you can put money into your stock market account 1 to 2 times each and every month, okay? You have to get yourself in a position like this. The reason being is that if you can do this, you're always able to take advantage of dips in stocks or the stock market in general. You never ever want to be in a position where you're watching the stock market go down, we're in a correction situation in the market, or one stock you really love is going down so much and you can't take advantage of that. You never ever want to be in that position. In order to really achieve huge things in the stock market, you have to get your cash flow right. You have to be in a position where 1 to 2 times each and every month you got money flooding in your account. And for everybody it's different. For you it could be, $300 a month is coming in your stock market account. For some other guy it could be $3,000 a month, okay? For some other guy it could be $30,000 a month is coming in his account. And for some other guy it could be $300,000 a month is going in his account. By the way, if you have $300,000 going in your accounts each and every month, you're going to go way over 10 million. Like you're probably going to be at 50, 100, $250 million eventually, okay? But that is so key. And how do you get your cash flow right? If you're watching this, you're like, I'm not in a position where I have, money I can put in 1 to 2 times each and every month, okay? Gotta get your cash flow right. One, you can get a better job, okay? That's simple. Like if you're not making enough from your job and just you have nothing to put away, like go start looking for a new job right now. Go start applying for higher paying jobs, okay? Number 2 option you have, get a side income stream. There's so many different things you can do. Freelance work, passive income ideas. There's so many different things. You've got to get a side income of some kind if you're not going to get a better job, okay? And if you're in a position where you don't have that much money to put in your accounts. And by the way, even if you have some money to put in your accounts, maybe you want more money to put in your accounts. It's not a bad idea to maybe go get a better job or go get a side income of some kind. Or number 3, you could cut expenses, right? Cutting expenses, it depends on the person. There are some people that definitely, man, I know some people that they make, $50,000 a month and they got nothing to show for it. They got nothing to invest because they just live a crazy lifestyle, okay? But it's one of those 3 things will allow you to get your cash flow right. This is so key in this whole scenario, okay? I want to show you the actual numbers behind why this is so key. It's not just me kind of like philosophizing and saying this is really important, get your cash flow right. We're going to go through an example. I'll show you exactly why this is so key, okay? So let's say we got 2 guys, okay? Guy A, he puts $25,000 in his stock market account, invests it in stocks over the next 25 years, and let's say he gets a 20% return per year, which is something I always aim for. I always aim to get around 20% or more per year, okay? I think if I'm putting in all this work, all this grind time, I got all this experience in the market, I expect for myself to get 20% or greater a year, okay? Especially in these type of markets where you have interest rates super low, and the stock market obviously performs very well in a super low interest rate environment. And are these low interest rates going to go away anytime soon? Probably not. Okay, we're going to be stuck at low interest rates for probably years and years, if not decades to go in the future, okay? So we got that guy, and then we have guy B, okay? He's got $25,000 in the market. He just put it in, okay? But also he puts another $25,000 in each and every year for 25 years at the same exact return of 20% per year on average, okay? By the way, if you're wondering, like, why do I try to aim for a 20% plus return per year when in the past year, for example, in the public account, we've got 151% return. 151% one-year rate of return is not always possible for me, okay? It's been an amazing past few years for me, but that's not always possible. We've hit crazy amounts of home runs, and it's not realistic to always get 151% return. You gotta kind of prep for the fact that you could get into some bad stocks, you could go through a rough market for a period of time. So that's why when I'm thinking about the numbers I'm going after and what I teach and what I'm trying to get my students to is 20% plus on average per year. 151%, I wish that was possible every year. It's not always realistic, okay? I just want to explain that. So let's look at the numbers behind this. The 25K guy, right, who puts 25K in, never puts any more money in, and he invests for 25 years, gives a 20% return per year. He does amazing. He turns that $25,000 into 2.3 mil, almost 2.4 mil, okay? That is absolutely amazing, okay? But here's the thing. We're not trying to get to a place where we have 2 mil in the market, right? We're trying to get to a place where we have 10 million plus. Like, that's the point of this video, right? And so watch how these numbers change. The guy that starts out with 25,000, but then puts another 25,000 each and every year and gets his, decent returns there, he's going to be over $14 million, okay? That is how much the numbers can change if you're in a position where you have got the cash flow to always put some money in the market each and every month, okay? I mean, look at the difference in money. 14 plus mil versus 2 mil, okay? It's not even comparable. The guys are not even comparable. This is why it is so key, other than obviously you want to always buy stocks in the dips, things like that, especially companies you love. But other than that, it's so key because the way you will grow will be so much faster if you're constantly putting money in your accounts every month, or at least, once or twice a month. Let's just put it that way. And I can tell you, I've always lived under my means since 2008 when I was making, $8 or whatever an hour, okay? All the way through today, I always live well under my means, okay? So whatever I have coming in for money, I'm always living well under my means so I can always fund my accounts. So I always have new money to invest. So when the market dips and something bad happens in the market, guess who's always in a position for me to buy? It's me, okay? If one of my stocks goes down that I love for the long term, right? Let's say one of my stocks goes down 20, 30, 40% over the next month. I'm in a position to buy. And I've been in that position ever since I was, somebody that hardly made any money, right? All the way through now, okay? I mean, I could live in this house here, 93 Spanish Gate, okay? Instead of the house I live in, I could have 19,000 square feet and park my cars in an underground garage. Why? I mean, I could afford the down payment. I could get the financing for that and afford the monthly payment. But why? What value is that going to bring to my life? All it's going to make is a massive house to clean and me kind of feeling lonely because I'm like, dang, I don't have enough friends to fill up a 19,000 square foot house. Like, what is the purpose of that? There's no purpose in that for me, even though I could afford it, right? I have 2 Teslas in the garage. Guess what? I could have 2 Bugattis in the garage. But what value does that bring? Like, all that's going to do is take more and more money away from me that I could be investing, okay? Like, do I really need that massive house? I would much rather invest this money, play my cards right, and then down the road, I could buy these buildings, okay? What do I want to buy, the buildings, or do I want to buy the house? If I buy the house, that house is not going to appreciate very much, I can tell you that, because people with that kind of money that would buy a house like that, they'll just build custom, okay? So that house won't appreciate very much like the average house will. And then I put myself in a position where so much money is going toward that house all the time, when it could really be invested in the stock market, getting a 20% plus return for me in these individual stocks, right? I want to buy buildings. I don't want to buy just a 19,000 square foot house, okay? And so the way I've always thought about my life when it comes to cash flows, it's always about, how do I increase the next level, okay? I started out at Einstein Bagels. I was making $7.50 an hour or whatever working at Einstein Bagels, and I got a better job opportunity. Walgreens opened up, and I think they started me at like $8.25, then it went up to $8.75 an hour, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna put myself in a better position where I have more money to invest, okay? From there, I was like, well, Walgreens isn't gonna, bump me up that much. Let me go get a job at Quick Trip. I started making 40, 50K a year, okay? And cash flows got better. And then I got myself in a position where, every month, if not twice a month, I was able to put money in my accounts, okay? From there, I was like, Quick Trip, how much I'm gonna make there is gonna be very limited long term. But if I start my own business, now we're talking I can get to other levels of cash flows, okay? It take a step back in the short term, but long term, it's gonna benefit me way more. So I start my real estate marketing business. And then I'm like, well, I'm starting this real estate marketing business. I'm getting the cash flows going from that. Let me start a side income stream. YouTube, okay? I'm like, I could teach people about different things in money, stocks, things like that. I didn't know YouTube was gonna become huge like it ended up becoming for me, where I would just drop the real estate marketing business, even though I had built that out. It was just YouTube was too big for me. And now I'm on YouTube, right? And now I'm already thinking about the next thing. Now I'm thinking about hiring like app developers, website developers, and I'm trying to build for the next things, even angel investing, things like that. And so I'm always focused on the next thing. What's gonna get me to a place where I have even more cash flows to put into stocks and invest and get more and more and more. And so that's just the way my brain thinks. And so if you're thinking out there, like, how do you get to these type of numbers? You gotta always be thinking, like, how can I go to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing? And, starting at $7.50 an hour, basically where we're at today and the type of projects I'm working on now, it's not even comparable, but that's over a 12-year span. Remember, people tend to way overestimate what they can pull off in a year and way underestimate, what they can pull off over a decade or so. And look what, we've been fortunate enough to pull off over the last, 10, 12 years. It's a pretty dramatic change, okay? So number one, get your cash flows right. If your cash flows aren't right, dream on about ever achieving $10 million plus in the stock market. It will not happen. You have to get your cash flow right first, okay? Now let's talk about the steps through the process, what you should be doing, what you should be staying away from, ways you should think, things like that, okay? So in your first stage, your $0 to $50,000 stage, okay? This is beginner stage. Anytime I see a stock market account with less than 50,000, like you're still getting up and rolling, okay? And that's really the way you should be viewing it, okay? There's two super important things in this stage, okay? These are the most important. Like, don't let anybody tell you anything different. These are the two most important things by far, okay? Number one, get in good habits, okay? Warren Buffett will tell you the same exact thing. This isn't just coming from my mouth. This is the same exact thing Warren Buffett will tell you. If you get in bad habits early when it comes to business or investing, that will always haunt you, okay? Because then you'll think it's okay. If you just start buying stocks, you don't know what you're doing. You're not reading the annual reports. You're not reading the 10Qs. You're not, listening to conference calls, looking at the investor presentation, and you're just buying stocks around. You're getting in very bad habits, and I can promise you 100% that will come back to bite you long term, okay? Sometimes that can work short term, just kind of throwing some money out there, but I can promise you long term it is not a viable strategy and it will come back to bite you. You have to get in good habits because those good habits, they carry on all the way. I made sure I got in those good habits my first couple years of investing, and now still to this day, what am I doing? Like a decade plus later, guess who's still up late at night listening to conference calls, reading annual reports, looking at investor presentations? This guy, okay? All these years later, because I got in good habits early on, I got in the right work ethic early on, and it's paying dividends now. Let's just put it that way, okay? Number two, know what you're looking for in these stocks. If you don't know what you're looking for in these stocks and how to value these stocks and the right mindset you should have for these stocks, like, obviously this isn't going to work out for you. As simple as that, okay? And that's a massive, massive thing, okay? I cover that in Financial Fortress. It usually takes the average student that joins in there 1 to 3 months to go through all the curriculum, okay? 1 to 3 months is usually how it takes because there are hundreds and hundreds of videos to go through in there. It's a lot to go through, but man, once you go through it, you have everything you ever need. You don't need it like, unless you want to learn some other strategies that I don't teach, which, you can do whatever you want, obviously, but that is everything you could ever want to know, okay? If you want to apply for that, first link in the description down there. You got to know what you're doing, otherwise you stand no chance, okay? 50K to 100K. What are we looking at here, okay? Number one, get a diversified solid portfolio glued together, okay? This is what's so important in this. So that first stage, when you're starting out, you're going from, nothing to, let's say, 50K, you're going to just be adding a couple stocks here and there, right? If let's say you got 15,000 in your account, you're not going to really have a solid, awesome portfolio put together. You're just in that beginner stage. You're just getting up and rolling. But as you start to progress and you get to 50K plus and all the way up to 100K, you should really start building out a portfolio that you're start to be proud of, okay? 5 stocks, 7 stocks that are really awesome in diversified industries that you know very well. You believe in these companies a lot. This is where you should be going. Like I said, how many stocks? 5 to maybe up to 8 stocks, I feel like, for that amount of money, and all in diversified industries. And you should start, kind of having a portfolio that you're proud of. Like, you really believe in this portfolio over the next 5-10 years. Like, it's a dang good portfolio, okay? Number two, this is a time we got to hit our first home run, okay? If you haven't hit a home run yet, in that first stage, which you might not have because you're kind of getting up and rolling, you might own some more dividend stocks, some bigger stocks like that. Now we got to start looking to hit our first home run. What do I mean by home run? I'm talking a stock that's going to go up 100% plus over the next, let's say 3 to 5 years. There are always plenty of stocks out there that are the home run type stocks, the type of stocks that go up, well over 100%, if not several 100% in a matter of a few years, okay? And we're trying to find our, home run stocks. Let's put it that way, okay? And believe me, there's a lot of them out there. There's still, even with the market, as much as climbed back over the last few months, I can tell you there's going to be, I would say there's probably going to be between 20 and 50 stocks in the stock market that will be home run stocks over the next 3 to 5 years, meaning they go up 100% plus over the next 3 to 5 years, 20 to 50. And I can almost guarantee that. And that's almost despite whatever happens in the market. Even if the market, let's say, stagnated, didn't do a thing for the next 3 to 5 years, there will still be 20 to 50 stocks, in my opinion, that will go up 100% plus over the next 3 to 5 years. Because there's some companies that just, regardless of whatever happens in the market, like, they're going to do amazing. Like, they're just the creme de la creme, and they'll keep outperforming, okay? Let's hit our first home run. $100,000 to $1 million. This is the most key in the whole process, in my opinion, other than obviously the beginner stage and getting good habits. This is so key. This is a stage where a lot of people can mess up, including myself. I messed up in a big way, kind of back half of 2014, moving into 2015. Basically, what you do, like if I look at myself back then, I had about $200,000 in the stock market, and I took a huge step back because I started trying to rush things, okay? Number 1 and number 3 go together. No steps back, no taking unnecessary risks. I'm talking margin account, where you can get in super heavy on margin and get margin calls, those sorts of things. Don't rush this, okay? Don't rush this and be like, I got 150K, I gotta get to $1 million tomorrow. Like, take your time with this, okay? Make sure you're staying focused, okay? And once you've had some success, which is definitely what I had leading up into that, it can allow you to think you can do everything. You can get into short-term trading and, oh my gosh, I can start playing earnings plays and this and that. I'm telling you guys, no steps back during this phase. You'll achieve your goals so much faster if you don't get into any bad, super speculative stocks where you get super heavy invested into any of them. Don't rush it. Just stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, okay? You don't need to have $1 million in your account tomorrow. You're not getting to 10 million tomorrow, okay? So that's the first thing, okay? Second thing, you should have multiple home run stocks at this point, or be in different stocks that will have multiple home run expansion, okay? Never get too invested into one stock or two stocks. This is so key in this stage. Remember, we talked about no steps back. Imagine you put, let's say you got 200,000. Imagine you put 50% of your portfolio in one stock, another 40% in another stock. So you got 90% of your portfolio in two stocks, let's say, for instance. Man, you're going to either do great or horrible based upon those two stocks. And if one of those stocks does really bad, if both of those stocks especially do really bad, but if just one of them, guess where your portfolio is going? Back. And you could even go under 100K, and now you got to climb all the way back up from that. It can be such an ugly situation, guys. Do not take steps back. Make sure you're getting in a portfolio you love. At this point, with this type of money, you should have 7 to, let's say, 12 stocks now. And you should own several very diversified companies, some solid companies, some, high growth companies that are those multiple home run situations, maybe a couple dividend stocks. You should have such a beast portfolio now at this point that you're super proud of this. Like if you were to send me your portfolio, which by the way, I do portfolio reviews every single week for my actual stock group. They can actually send me their portfolios. I look over and give my opinion. But let's say you were to send me your portfolio and you got $500,000 in the market. I should be a portfolio that I look at and I'm like, that's diversified, a lot of great companies in there, and some real extraordinary home run type stocks that have huge potential over the next 3, 5, 7 years, okay? That's what we're looking at here. This stage is huge. Don't forget, no steps back, okay? Don't rush things, okay? The final stage in the process, 1 million to 10 million, okay? 2 really, really important things for this step, okay? The first is don't forget what got you here, okay? Too often, people all of a sudden, get to that millionaire stage, they got 1 million stocks, 2 million stocks, and all of a sudden they start investing completely differently than they did before. And that's fine. If all you plan on having is $1 million or $2 million in stocks, fair game, okay? But if you're trying to get to a place where you got 8 figures in the market, don't forget what got you here. Why do you want to start going with a different strategy? That makes no sense, okay? That makes no sense at all. This is what got you to this place. Don't start saying, oh, now I want to do this strategy and that strategy. No, okay? Stick with what got you here. There's a reason why you're even in that position, okay? If you're fortunate enough to have $1 million to 2 million in stocks, okay? Keep in mind, way less than 1% of the population around the world, way less than 1%, has $1 million to $2 million in stocks, okay? So if you're fortunate enough that you were able to grind on this, you're able to get to this stage, don't forget what got you there, okay? You went through a certain process, you looked at stocks a certain way, you diversified your portfolio a certain way. Now's not the time to all of a sudden say, oh, now I'm gonna do this and do that. No, okay? So key. And I don't know what it is about becoming a millionaire. When you first become a millionaire, a lot of people think all of a sudden they got to change up everything. It's like, if you had 900K, you were doing things a certain way. Now you have 1.2 mil. Now you're going to change everything. It literally doesn't make sense, especially if you got, bigger goals and things like that. Okay. Number 2, now you should have a beast portfolio. You should have 15 to 20 stocks that are just absolute beasts. You should have several stocks in your portfolio now that are up 100% plus, if not up hundreds of percent, okay? Several stocks you've already hit home runs on, several stocks you should be able to hit home runs on. You should have at least 2 stocks that are dividend cash flow machines that, remember, we talked about having cash flow always coming into your accounts in terms of something from your job or your business or side income streams or something like that, always have that money. You should have at least 2 stocks, if not 3 stocks in your portfolio now that are dividend cash flow machines that throw you off a 3 to 5% yield, and you can just invest that money in more stocks, okay? You should own some value stocks, maybe a turnaround play or 2, okay? You should own 1 spec stock, maybe even 2 spec stocks if you really want to go to that place, okay? And you should own just several stocks that are home run beast companies, okay? Keep climbing, don't get complacent, and don't think all of a sudden you gotta do something different, okay, man? There's a reason you got that much money in stocks, okay? Next thing I want to chat about here in this video, the tax man. Very important. The tax man is always important, whether you got a small amount of money, large amount of money, anything. The tax man is very important, okay? 2 things to keep in mind when it comes to tax man and kind of thinking about this, okay? One is try your best to take long-term gains, meaning whenever you sell out a stock, you've been holding it for at least 1 year. Why? Because you're going to be taxed at maybe a 15-18% rate versus, if you take a huge gain on a stock, that could bump up your tax bracket you're in. What if you have to pay 28%? 32%, something like that. Imagine if you have to pay state taxes on that as well. I mean, it can get really, really ugly. This is why taking long-term gains, and this is why the system is really kind of rigged in long-term investors. Like the system is completely rigged in our favor as long-term investors, okay? The stock market goes up most of the time, right? Cash is constantly being devalued, which means you got to, invest in the stock market. And the tax man's going to take way less from us as long as we held a stock for at least a year or we're receiving dividend money. Versus if we're trying to sell in and out stocks, we're going to be taxed way heavier, okay? So, tax man, take long-term gains. Also, don't be in a rush to take the P, okay? Don't be in a rush to take the profit. This happens way too often. People invest in a stock that they love, okay? And they believe in so much for the next 5-10 years, okay? And all of a sudden, 3 months after they invest in it, the stock's gone up 20%, 30%, 40%. And now all of a sudden they want to take a profit. And they're like, oh, should I take a profit on this? The stock's gone up a bunch. Maybe I just need to take a profit. I went through this as well in my first 5 years of investing, okay? There were plenty of times I bought into stocks and I didn't let those stocks run. I got like, I don't want to say scared. It's just like, whoa, it's gone up 20%, 40%, 50%. I can't go up much more, right? And so I'd take the short-term profit. And next thing you know, that stock would go up way, way more. Because if I was truly buying in a great company, right, that I think is going to double, triple, quadruple their value over the next 5 years, right? Like if the stock goes up 20 or 30%, it didn't even get close to what I thought that stock would go to. So why do I need to all of a sudden take the profit? So many times people are in a rush to take the profit, and so it leads them to take short-term gains, pay a way higher tax rate, and pay at a way higher tax bracket, then just let that stocks run, okay? Tesla stock's a perfect example for you of a stock that I hold that, on a split adjusted basis, Tesla's $2,000+ right now, right? Because it did the 5-to-1 split. It's 400 and something now, okay? So it's 2,000 something on a split adjusted basis, okay? That's the one I have before the split, I had a cost basis of like 227, right? And on a split adjusted basis, it's like 2,000 plus now, okay? So think about this. Like I could have taken the profit when I went up 100%, 200%, and a lot of people did, but I just understood like this company has way more long-term potential than this. So why do I need to sell out of that stock right now and take a bunch of short-term gains on that stock, pay the tax man, he's going to take a bunch of my money instead of just letting that stock run. And obviously the stock's, I don't know, probably close to 10x now since I bought in that stock, okay? You don't be in a rush to take the profits, guys. That will end up costing you more money than you could ever think about, okay? Pull this off. Get your cash flows right. Think in these terms, think in these steps, and think about the tax man. Take the long-term gains. Don't be in a rush to take the profits, things like that. And you have a great opportunity of getting yourself over the next decade, 2 decades, getting yourself to a place where you got 10 million plus in the stock market, okay? Absolutely is it possible, and absolutely you can pull it off, but you got to believe it and you got to be willing to grind. No one got to 10 million plus in the stock market by being lazy. I can promise you that, all right? Hope you guys enjoy this. As always, if you don't mind, smash a thumbs up. That helps the YouTube channel out in a massive way. Lets me know you guys enjoy a more educational video rather than entertainment video. And I like doing these videos from time to time as well, okay? Also, if you want the opportunity to learn directly from me on how to make more money in the stock market while taking less risk, fill out the application below, first link in the description. Might even have it as the pinned comment, we'll see, but I know for sure it'll be the first link in the description. It'll allow you to fill out an application, and we'll see what happens from there. Thank you for watching and have a great day.